Welcome to another mini video from 2dgameartguru.com. Today I'll be playing with spheres and symbols in Affinity Designer. A radial gradient applied to a circle is the fastest way to create a 3D looking object in 2D. Let's get started with the circle. I hold Shift to constrain the proportions. Select the Fill tool and click on the object and drag to create a linear fill. That is the default setting in Affinity Designer. At the top you can then change it to a radial fill. It comes with two color spots. You can add more by clicking on the line between the two color spots. Adjust the colors. In this case I want to go from a pink to a red to a dark red to give the ball some volume. As you can see, two colors still look rather bland, so I click on the line between the two color stops and create a third one, and then change the color to a darker red to add more depth to my sphere. In order to make it easier to distinguish the balls when they are stacked and the colors are similar, I add an outer shadow. I don't offset it, I just want a darker glow around the circle itself. Next I turn the circle into a symbol, bring up the symbol panel and click on Create. The circle turns into a symbol. I scale the symbol down and adjust the outer shadow and then start duplicating to create a pattern. I scale and move, looking for something that looks interesting. I select this cluster of circles and make it a symbol as well. That way I can scale, move, flip this to create a larger pattern. This is now a symbol within a symbol. If I move the ellipse in the base symbol, you can see that the whole pattern changes. If I select a symbol, I can move the balls individually, add, duplicate, and change the pattern of the cluster simultaneously. With the base sphere a symbol, it's easy to make changes. In this case I changed the color gradient. Instead of going from pink to red, I'm going to give it a more cloud-like light blue and change the shadow from black to a blue as well, so it's not quite as striking. In order to color the clusters differently, I need to group them and assign a color effect to the group. I use the color overlay, set it to a blue tone and set it to multiply with a reduced opacity. That way the color is added on top and you can see it's just giving the white a shade of blue. I repeat the effect with different degrees of opacity for the others. I can quickly copy the effect and paste it with Alt Shift and V and then just change the level of opacity, making the ones in the background darker than the ones further to the front. Let's do another design, starting with the sphere from earlier. I recolor it, going from a peach to a purple. I do like to shade with purple, it's just a softer way than adding black to the color. I arrange my spheres in a slight arc, scaling them down as I go, and then grouping those and turning them into a symbol. I change the origin of the symbol and then duplicate, rotate and duplicate again to fill the circle. I can now go in and change the size of the ellipses within the symbol. The overlap between the last and the first one doesn't look good because the last one overlaps the first one, so I duplicate the first one, put it to the front and add a shape to be used as a clipping mask that runs halfway through the spheres. That way the clipped version covers the overlap. I select all the symbols, group them, scale that group, and I can now add effects to the group to change the look without having to change every single sphere. A color overlay, or a gradient overlay in this case, from the center to the outside as a radial gradient, with the colors going from light in the center to dark on the outside, set to multiply to shade the outer parts, or to overlay to change the look of those colors as they are being mixed. Makes it really fun to play with without having to touch each and every sphere. And yet you get nice effects seeing you're working on the group and not on the individual symbols. One problem with this approach is the light setup. As the spheres are rotated, so is the highlight and the shading. One way to solve this problem is by creating the shading through effects rather than a gradient. I start with a circle with a plain solid fill. To this I add layer effects. I start with a bevel, set it to an inner bevel and increase the radius. Seeing it's a rather large circle, go to the maximum and it's not enough, but you can always increase that by manually entering the numbers. Like the gradient prior, I want the light to come directly from above, which makes it a little easier. I also change the color of the shadows. Rather than the black, I go with the dark purple. Before adding my second effect, I turn on the 3D, giving it even more volume. I make sure the direction is the same coming from the top. One thing I forgot when I changed the color of this circle from red to white was the fact that highlights won't be visible on a white sphere, so I changed it back to see the highlights created by the bevel effect. I adjust the radius and the softness. It's given me a slightly different effect from what I was after, but I quite like this one, so I go back and change the bevel a bit and adjust that, increasing the radius even further. I add a second light source to the 3D effect to get a rim light that illuminates the bottom. I change the color of that light from white to gray. When I change the color now, I just change the fill. You can see that the effect is calculated on top of the color. I can give this fill any color I want. I can also add a gradient and the effect will be added on top. To avoid the issues with the light setup from earlier, I keep the center of the gradient in the center. At the moment I have the scale with object turned off, so when I scale this down, I get a nice effect that gives me a more rounded looking circle. You can see the difference when I turn the scale with object on. To keep it cleaner and easier to edit, I remove the gradient and give it a solid fill again. Scale it down a little bit to get the effect I want, and then turn the scale with object on. When I scale this circle now, the effect scales with it. I'm happy with this one, so move the other one out of the way and add the outer shadow. Creating a duplicate and placing it in front shows me that the shadow is not big enough to really distinguish between the two. I increase the radius and keep this copy of the sphere. I duplicate the sphere and recreate the previous design with the slide arc. Seeing this is a solid fill, I can now go in and select all spheres and give the whole design a gradient, so the spheres shade from yellow to magenta. I group all these spheres and turn them into a symbol. Creating the group is essential, otherwise each sphere will be a symbol of its own. I duplicate the group as I did before to create a circular pattern, and as you can see now, the light setup stays the same, unlike before where the light rotated along with the rotation of the symbol. I can now go in, alter the elements, change the gradient, work on the design, and no matter how I move the spheres, the shading will stay intact and the light on all the spheres comes from the top center. I add a few more elements to fill the gaps in this design, and that concludes this video. It did turn out to be a little longer for a quick video, but once I got started I realized there's a little bit more to cover than just the basics. I hope you find this interesting and play around with it. It is an easy effect to replicate that can be a lot of fun and offers quite a few variations. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications, leave a comment below and let me know what you want to see on my blog or on this channel, and I will see you again soon.